So hi guys, in this video we will see how to set up Python in VS Code because we've already learned Python using the Jupyter notebook, but right now we will use the VS Code because it is quite convenient and it is easy to use because you will get all kind of suggestions using the Python commands. For example, if you are using this for loop or if else loop, if else statement, then you will get suggestions like how to use that statement, what should be put inside the parentheses and all. So in that case it is too easy to use, but in Jupyter notebook you will not get any kind of suggestions, you will not get any kind of like autocorrect and all, right? So in that case you have to correct everything manually, but here it will correct automatically. So for that you first of all need to install this Python extension, because without this you cannot use .py files, right? So you need to install this Python extension, and after that enable that extension, and then let me make a Python file, for example main.py, and after that the extension enable, you will also need to install one more thing. You will get notified over here, and let me show you that. Yeah, so you will need to install this pylint. It will show a pop-up over here. Just click on that install now option and it will automatically install that pylint in the VS Code. And you will also get to see that Python 3.8.0, which whatever version is installed on your device over here. So for example, let me just write one thing. Let me close this one. Yeah, so if I write, for example, if you want to import that math module, so if I write I, you can see it is suggesting me some options like import, input, int, and so on, right? So if I click on this import, or if you press enter, it will write that import, right? You don't need to write it manually, it will automatically fill that thing. For example, now if I write math, yeah, now you can see that it is suggesting me math, and if I press enter, it will put that math over here. Now if you move your cursor over this math option, you will see this math module. For example, let me write over here JSON, and now if I move my cursor over here, now you can see everything of this like module, a basic description of this module JSON. So similarly, if you wanna use this if else statement, in that case if you write if, and then you can see that it is suggesting me, first of all, if the first option will automatically fill up that thing, that is I and if, then you can use that code snippet of if and if else. For example, if you want to use that if else statement, then you can choose the last one, and if you press enter, it will automatically put the syntax of if else statement. So right now you just need to write the conditions. For example, if it is true, and now if you press tab, it will automatically move on to inside the if statement, right? So for example, now if I write print hi, and now if you press tab, it will automatically move into the else statement. For example, let me press the tab, now you can see it is moved to the else statement. So now yeah, it is passed, and that's quite good. So in this way you can use that Python easily in VS Code. Now if you are frequent user of APIs and request modules, in that case this extension AREPL for Python is really helpful for you, because you can see in the demo video over here, like if you use any kind of statements, it will run automatically without running that file. So you can see it is printing that with AREPL, and it is also showing over here what is the actual output of that statement, or of that whatever statement you are using, or whatever function you are using. So yeah, it is really helpful without running that file. For example, let me just initialize a dictionary. For example, it contains one item 1. One second, I just need to use colon over here, and here I comma 2, and that is assume item 2, and then 3, and that is assume item 3. Okay, that's quite great. And for example, now if I use this for value in dict dot values, I guess, yeah, and then print value. Now If you run this cell, obviously it will run properly, and you can see it is printing item 1, 2 and 3. You can obviously also run from this terminal as well. To run from this terminal, you just need to write python then main.py, and it will run properly. Now assume you are doing with some request or APIs. In that case, you can see this icon over here. So this is the icon for AREPL for Python. So you just need to click on it, and it will run this kind of terminal. And for example, let me do some changes over here. For example, I'll just write one more item for now. Yeah, now you can see it is showing the output without running that file. For example, if I add one more item, item 4, now you can see it is showing over here that item 4 is now added, and this is the overall statements which are run to show this output. So yeah, in this way, and you can see every time it is showing this one. For example, in first loop it is showing 1 colon then item 1, and it is showing this value only. So yeah, in this way you can use this AREPL Python extension for VS Code. So guys, now the third extension is kite. Let me show you that thing. Yeah, kite for Python autocomplete. So this is the third extension which you should use, because like whenever you are using something, for example import math, yeah, so you already saw that if we hover over the actual word, it will show you some description of that particular module or particular statement or loop, whatever. But if you use this kite, then you will see a lot of documentation without going into Chrome or any kind of browser and googling that thing. You just see over here now. One second. Yeah, if you hover over that particular word, you can see now this docs word is popping, and if you click on this docs, it will open this kind of kite virtual environment, and here you can see all the documentation of that particular module. For example, if you want to search for sqrt, and then you can obviously do that as well, math.sqrt and so on. For example, now if I import matplotlib and then hover over it, now you can see now here the docs, and now if I click on it, it will open the kite and it will show you the documentation of actual matplotlib. uh, yeah, so now you can see everything over here without going into Google and all, right? So anyways, the next one is auto docstring. For example, if you are using any kind of functions, for example, I'll just write over here age def uh, def age, and it will take, for example, two arguments, that is the first of all name of that person and then the actual age. So I'll just write over age, and now if I just use the return statement, return, I'll use the if string method. So if, and then inside this I'll use a name, or age of this particular name. So age of this guy is, and then the parentheses, and here I'll just write here age, and that's it. Now in case if you are using docstring, that is nothing but that triple inverted commas, so I'll just write over there triple inverted commas, and now if I press enter, it is going to show me the by default a docstring. Now I can just edit this thing. For example, in case of summary, I'll just write over here it is used to show your age and all. Now if you want to move from that particular section to the another, you just use the tab button. So if I press tab, it will automatically move to the next option, the name, and that is a string type, and then description, it will take your name, and then again tab, it will be an integer, and then it is your age, and so on, right? So in this way you can use the by default docstring. You don't need to write everything manually, you can just automate everything, right? Now the next one is, actually there are some extension of that as well, like PyTest. So if you want to test your Python code, you don't need to use any kind of extension. Obviously you can install it from the terminal as well, like pip install pytest. But in the Python extension, this comes with by default. So we will just go into the setting option and click on the setting and then search for test and then go into the Python option and just go a little down, and then here you will get this option Python testing pytest enabled, and by default this is not enabled. Just click on this enable testing using pytest and then it will automatically save your edit and it will ask you to install the pytest. Obviously you can do it manually like pip install pytest, but you can click on it yes option as well. So it will install pytest in your device, in your VS Code by the way. And do remember that all the files will go into this pytest folder. You can see over here the pytest path is the pytest folder. So yeah, so after installing the pytest in your VS Code, you will get to see this kind of a lab option or test option, whatever, and then just click on it, and by default it will show nothing because we don't have that pytest folder. So we will go into that thing, and here I'll just create a folder called pytest, and let me do some basic mathematical coding. For example, I'll just add file test hyphen add dot py, and then we will declare a function called add, and it will take two arguments a and b, and it will just it will just return a plus b. And let me create one more function that is def test and it will obviously take nothing as an argument, and it will just run that add function, and it will just assert or if it is true or false. So I'll just write over there assert and then add 1 comma 3. Okay, sorry, 1 oops, what happened, 1 comma 3, and then by default let me set it false. For example, 1 comma 3 is equals to 6. Obviously it is false. So now if I save this thing and just go into this lab option, and then now if I just reload this thing, what happened, it is not getting it actually. Okay, it's an error by the way. You now save it. So now if I go into this lab option, and now you can see over here, so this pytest folder is now created into this test section. And now if I run all test, or you can obviously click on this arrow and you can individually run any kind of functions and all, but since we are using only one additional function for testing, so we will run all the test cases. So run all test, and now in the problem section you can see that it is showing that it is fail asserting 4, that is not equals to 6. And you will also get to see this kind of red underline, curvy underline under this test add function. And if you hover over that, you can obviously see that it is failing to assert 4, that is obviously not equals to 6. And yeah, in this way you can use this test by default with the Python extension. Now let me change it with 4 because obviously that is the correct answer. And now save this file and relearn this cell. Now you can see you will get all the check mark with all the functions and all, and you can see over here no problem have been detected in the workspace so far. So yeah, in this way you can use this test.